MCAT 2017 Cram, Critical Analysis and Reasoning Skills, Flashcard Set 16.2, Antenatal Depression and Anxiety in Pakistan. As you view the reading of this passage, you'll notice some highlighted selections of text. What I want you to do is garner meaning from these specific selections in order to answer the two reasoning beyond the text questions that follow. Okay? So good luck and happy reading. An interesting finding in our study of antenatal depression and anxiety among women in Pakistan was the correlation between the occupation of pregnant women and antenatal depression and anxiety. In contrast to studies in Western populations, which mention employment as a strong protective factor against major depression in pregnancy. Our study found that pregnant women employed outside the home were actually more depressed and anxious than pregnant housewives. A study in Karachi, Pakistan, apparently contradicts our findings by concluding that housewives in general are more depressed than working women. Several factors might explain this contradiction. Most studies with such findings mention education as an important protective factor against antenatal anxiety and depression. Therefore, the lower educational level of housewives compared to working women was associated with higher levels of anxiety and depression. However, our study included respondents from low and lower middle socioeconomic classes, and 54% of the women in our sample were educated to less than the 10th grade level. So even most of the working women may not have been educated highly enough for their employment status to have a positive effect on their mental health. Paragraph 2. Secondly, in recent years, inflation has increased and socioeconomic conditions have deteriorated in Pakistan, and these changes have led to increased stress and the pressures on working women to meet the economic needs of their households. The increased stress, combined with the demands of pregnancy, might be responsible for greater depression and anxiety in working women compared to housewives who are relatively protected from work stress. Paragraph 3. Finally, another factor might also be operative in the social environment of Pakistan. In many Orthodox Pakistani families, most of which belong to lower and lower middle social classes, working women are highly stigmatized. In this socioeconomic setting, the home is considered the appropriate place for women, and being an obedient wife and loving mother are considered their appropriate roles. Negative attitudes among relatives toward their work might contribute to depression and anxiety among working pregnant women from lower and lower middle social classes who participated in our study. Housewives, in contrast, may have been protected from such discrimination. Paragraph 4. A novel and important finding in our study is the relationship between the gender of previous children and the level of antenatal depression and anxiety. Having daughters was significantly associated with antenatal depression and anxiety, whereas having sons was a protective factor. In Pakistan, the family system is predominantly patriarchal. Patriarchal mean a characteristic of a society or government controlled by men. Women are treated as second-class citizens and denied certain social rights. Among the consequences of this social structure are honor killings. Whoa, it's crazy. The bride price and dowry. The disputed status of female testimony. Wow. Forced marriages. Ugh. And denial of women's rights to have a career. Parents view their sons as bread earners and agents of continuation of the family name. and view their daughters as an economic burden. This is partly due to the tradition of providing a large dowry when a daughter marries, especially in India and Pakistan. The dowry may be in the form of land, money, jewelry, or household items. Even after birth, sons are given preference over daughters with respect to access to healthcare and educational opportunities. Considering these societal pressures, pregnant women who have already given birth to one or more daughters are not only concerned about their future offspring's gender, but are also subject to harassment, taunting, and stigmatization by their family and relatives. Okay, that's it. A brand new study showed that women who were not pregnant experienced more stress if they were housewives than if they were working. What would the implications of the study be for the author's study and the other done in Karachi? It would show that the Karachi study is wrong and the author's study is more valid. Answer choice A. B. It would show that both the author's study and the Karachi study are wrong. C. It would neither support nor contradict either the author's or the Karachi study. All right. Definitely press pause if you need to, and I'll give you a moment to think. If you're having difficulty selecting the correct answer choice, open up a second window to view the reading of the passage and search for the text support to find the evidence to back up the correct answer choice. All right. So this reasoning beyond the text question wants you to apply the ideas mentioned in the passage to this new situation presented here in the question stem. So you have to understand the assumptions underlying the article and assess how the new information in the question stem, as well as the answer choices, shifts the central thesis of the passage. Okay, let's start out by analyzing answer choices. Let's see, B and C, okay? So let's see. All right, so at the superficial level, the new study would seem to be more consistent with the Karachi, Pakistan study than the author's study, all right? However, the result would not imply that either prior study is wrong, okay, which is what these are saying. And in paragraph 1, the author describes their own study as being specifically about, quote, pregnant women, where the Karachi study is about housewives and working women, quote, in general, meaning it included both pregnant and non-pregnant women. Thus, a third study about non-pregnant women could show any result and not actually support or contradict either of the first two studies. All right. So it is possible for the effect of working on stress to be different or even opposite, depending on whether the woman is pregnant. In fact, many of the work-related stress factors discussed by the author are tied to women's expected roles as mothers and caregivers. Okay? So the best answer choice basically is that it would neither support nor contradict either the authors or the Karachi study. Okay. Based on the passage, which of the following social changes is most likely to cause a decrease in antenatal depression and anxiety? Is it A, an increase in the number of women in the workforce? B, a decrease in the number of women in the workforce? C, a decrease in the stigmatization of women in the workforce? Or D, an increase in the percentage of newborns who are female? Definitely press pause if you need to, and I'll give you a moment to think. All right. In this reasoning beyond the text question, the test makers want you to apply the ideas in the passage to the new situations presented in the answer choices, okay? And again, you have to assess how this new information shifts the central thesis or some of the main ideas mentioned in the passage. The passage explains that women in Pakistan are often stigmatized for working outside the home. This is mentioned in paragraph 2. Thus, an increase in the number of women working outside the home, here in answer choice A, may actually cause higher rates of depression if the social stigma associated with working women remains the same, although more of them are released into the workforce, okay? So this is not the answer. A decrease in the number of women in the workforce, answer choice B, may not meaningfully reduce depression and anxiety given the different findings regarding effects of employment of a Pakistani woman. And you can find this evidence in paragraph 1. Okay, so an increase in the percentage of female newborns implies more pregnant women will previously have had girls, which would increase rather than decrease anxiety, according to the results of the study. The only option that is likely to decrease antenatal depression and anxiety would be a decrease in the stigmatization. Stigmatization meaning shaming or branding a person in a symbolic way. So a decrease in the stigmatization of women is likely to decrease this type of depression. Okay? All right.